Hey there, we're back, and it's movie night. This week, Ruben and I, watched McFarland. McFarland is directed by, let me see the director, Nikki Caro, and it came out in 2015, Ruben, and it stars Kevin Costner as Jim White, Maria Bella as Cheryl White, and Thomas Carlos Prats, also known as Carlos Chalabi. And there's a variety of other young men and women in the film that I thought was excellent. I really liked this film, Ruben. I'm not sure how you felt. Maybe because I'm a Latino, and it basically takes place in McFarland, USA, or McFarland, California. And I've traveled by McFarland and never really stopping, but it's a agricultural community, right? Farming community. A lot of newly immigrants, right, coming into this country. And so this is a true story about a school that won, I believe 9 state championships in cross country in a span of like 14 years. And so it was, what did you think, Ruben? Did you enjoy as much as I did?
You know, I liked some of it. I certainly liked some of the aspects that you're covering, which is the struggle of these students who are children of pickers. That's how they call themselves, pickers. They pick produce, like you said, the Central Valley, and it definitely did a good job at providing that setting, that backdrop. You feel the area, and if you've ever been up there, you know it. You see the agriculture, and it's and I like the references to San Luis, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and they did a good job with some of it. I feel though that they made a mistake in centering the story around the Kevin Costner character, and not around these students. The students became a B story. But that, I think, was a mistake because those students' plights were so weighty. These are students in a real struggle with poverty and educational struggles and concerns that I think deserved a more fuller picture. But they spent so much time with Costner's character, and I know he's a coach, and he did something great as well in coaching that, and he stuck it there, stood by those students for years, didn't leave. It is a good story about him, but I think the stronger story is them. And there was so much of the Costner situation. I can't really recommend the film. Let me just give you a point in the film that I had a problem with. First of all, Kevin Costner. Okay, he's not bad. Kevin Costner's not bad in this film, but do you ever get the sense as you're watching it that he's so interchangeable with many of these actors of a certain age? Like you could plop Harrison Ford in there, Liam Neeson. Like Kevin Costner doesn't really give you anything. I mean,
I think the character had to be macho, and I think that what you're saying is correct. He's kind of a macho character, so they could throw in a Harrison Ford, they could throw in Kevin Costner.
Yeah, I guess macho. To me, it was just he just walked off the set of The Bodyguard, and jumped into it as a coach. Like he doesn't add anything. Like, for example, if you put in a different actor, it might have elevated. I don't know if it might have elevated something. Maybe a Michael Keaton might have brought in some kind of humor to it. But it's for me, it was a very dry performance. Wow. But not terrible, but also those little plot points that just are popping in every of these teacher movies or coach movies. You have the administrator that fights back, his desire to help these kids. Sure. You have I swear it seems to me that same plot point where he's spending all this time at work helping these kids with the cross country and neglecting his wife, and he forgets to bring home the birthday cake to his daughter. I could have sworn that this exact same plot point was in JFK, the movie JFK.
Really?
I could be wrong.
I have to look at that.
like he was
Maybe
spending
you
so
might be
much
right.
time
Yeah.
and he forgets the birthday cake.
But I
And
thought
I'm
that was,
sorry, and I'm
I thought
sorry.
it went well though, Ruben, because
I'm
it's true
sorry.
as a like I'm a teacher who's married and has children, and I've had those conversations with my wife. Where like, wait a minute, you're spending a lot of time at school. Don't forget
that's
about your
never.
children.
Oh, and you're right. We need to see that again in the movies, don't we?
Ruben,
Wow, we don't get enough
maybe
of
you
that
need to see
storyline.
it some more. That's the
We,
issue here.
we haven't seen that forever. I
Come
mean,
on.
that has that part. I just when he's knocking on the daughter's door, he leaves a flower. It's like we could be spending time looking at this other story, which was way more interesting.
I
And
think you're
as a
right. I think
result,
it is way more interesting. I don't disagree with that part. I still
as a result, yeah,
yeah.
you pointed out that you like that part, and I agree. I agree with you. I like that part much better, and you're obviously in agreement. And that's why I can't say I enjoyed the film or I'd recommend it. I will say it's better than the last Coach movie that we saw. Remember I would watch this movie before Remember the Titans again. I can't see more music videos, but
yeah. Well, I think we are forgetting something. We do usually talk about strategies, and I think I do want to just mention that I did think it was great that he went into their community. He's not a picker, right? And he went in to pick to really just to see what they're going through, but also to show them that they mattered. And as teachers, sometimes we have to be uncomfortable and do things that are out of our comfort zone. And he did that, and he grew so much and he learned so much from that. I know I've done where I've gone to, and I'm using it as an example. I say I did this, but I think I could do a lot more of this, and we all could. But going to quinceañeras, going to activities that these families invite you to. I think it's a good, if a family invites you to something like that, you should go for it, And I love that he did that. And I think that was really smart of him. And, him and his bicycle, he could have a lot of coaches just sit back and wait for them to come in, but he's out there, riding his bike with them. I think that was kind of cool.
I think that it reminded me a little bit of Stand and Deliver, especially at the end.
Did. Yeah.
But it again, I liked that part too when he went in and he picked with his students. But man, it just reminded me more that they went about it wrong. If it was from the viewpoint of the students, of those kids, of the pickers, it would have had more weight. I felt the film would have been weightier and stronger. But as it was, it just it felt a little thin to me for some reason. And I think that's the reason. It's just it
Did
was
you feel
coming
like
from perspective.
Are you saying you wish you want a little bit more for meaning like maybe some more information?
It should have been Vale's story, the runner who he was tracking. So this reminded me a little bit, a much better film. Mm-hmm. But it gave me hints of another running film called Prefontaine. I think it was called. Yeah. Oh no! It's called Without Limits. There's two of them.
Without Limits.
Without Limits. But I believe it was from his perspective, and he was being recruited, and it's such a better film. I know they're telling two different stories. I'm just saying it reminded me, but I think if they flipped the perspective, it would have been possibly a great film.
Wow. Yeah, I still think it's worth watching, and I enjoyed it, and I do respect what you shared, because that's a good point. If it was more focused on the kids, because man, they have a tough background having to. And one of the best parts about him, though, he gives a little speech at the end to encourage them and saying, "You guys get up in the morning to pick, and you go to school, and then you go back home."
It was a good speech.
Pick. It was a good speech, and I think that's what we want to see more of, like you're sharing. And I agree with you. See their lives and the hardships, and they overcame that, and they won a state championship, and they did it like 9 times. And I mean, that not that group, but other kids like them who worked hard and have the same kind of background. It's pretty. It makes you feel good that, and I'm sorry, it's from my community, so I love that part of it. As I'm able to show that. If I was going to show that to my kids, I would share, hey, this is kind of something to shoot for. I teach a decathlon. I mean, I work with the decathlon team. This would be something to kind of motivate them before an exam time that we're going to do together. But anyway, okay. Well, that's it, guys. We both, we saw it differently, but I hope you guys get a chance to see it. That's McFarland, and have yourself a good night.